Hello, everybody. It's Friday, March 3rd, and it's 1 o'clock, so it must be the live stream. Almost timed that music perfectly so that it would end just as we were starting. Want to welcome everybody to the live stream. I know we're just getting going. Today's topic is the assessment update with Dr. Hernandez, but as per usual, we have some announcements. As we say every week, for all your EdTech needs, please email edtech@alisal.org. Also, we have the open office hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. You can get there, as you see on the screen, at bit.ly/alisalhelp, capital A, capital H. Wanted to let you know that next week on March 12th, we will welcome back Miss Ana Cordero for Teacher Clarity Part 2. Miss Cordero is always a great presentation, so we hope that everyone tunes in live so they can join us for questions and such. But now, the fun part, we're not going to make you wait till the end for the raffle. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So I need to stop presenting this for a second. And we're going to head right into this other fun thing that is our name picker. So we had 346 responses to the Good Teaching Conference evaluation, and we have about 20 prizes to give away. So the first thing, and I have my lovely the Alisal Bunch background going, but you know, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like having your virtual background on makes it hard to show things like this bag that just keeps going in and out. So turning it off and you can see what a lovely mess my office is. So what we have is I think it's 8 Alisal Bunch, which was the theme for Good Teaching Conference swag bag kit. So it's this lovely messenger bag. I'm such a good fan of white.
What's inside? What's inside?
I'm going to show you. So it has a nifty hook and a Velcro. And then inside we have, ta-da! I'm not going to put this on my head, but a cool Alisal Bunch. And that's embroidery. That's not a sticker. We're not being cheap with you guys. And an Bunch water bottle with 2 different tops. You could have the sport top, or you can screw on the stopper top and then the district logo on the back. So we have 8 of those. You get everything. Ta-da! Okay. So now, how many of those do we have, Josh? We have 8. Is everybody ready? Are you psyched? This is so much more fun with people in the room. But for the people who are watching, here we go. So we're going to pick. Number 1 goes to Evelyn Mesa at Sanchez. Yay, Evelyn, yay. Okay. And then we're going to remove Evelyn's name from the list. And we're going to click go to see who gets number 2. And number 2 is Dieter Zavala from VRB. Congratulations, Dieter. Yay. Okay. If this weren't virtual, I would tell you all to hold your applause to the end, but really I just have to tell me to hold my applause to the end, which I might do now. Okay, so number 3 for Alisal swag bag is Alberto Felix, who I believe works out of the district office. So Alberto Felix, congratulations. Remove his name. And then we're going to go ahead and click go again. This is for number 4. Francisco Reyes at Sanchez. Congratulations, Francisco at Sanchez. Going ahead and removing his name. Go one more time. This is for swag bag number 5. Angela De Ramos at Barden. She's my neighbor, like, because my office is at Barden. I don't live next to her. Any case, Angela De Ramos, congratulations. On number 5, number 6. Cynthia Lopez from Creekside. Congratulations, Miss Lopez from Creekside. Removing the name. This is swag bag number 7. Esparza from Steinbeck. Hopefully we can sort out who that is. Hopefully there's only one Esparza at Steinbeck in the staff. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep that. It's first and last, people. There's a method to our madness. Okay, last Alisal bunch. Swagback. Anna Bravo at Fremont. Well done. Yay, Anna. Okay, so taking Anna's name from the list. So now we have 10 $25 gift cards to all different places that are donated by ATA. So we have 2 Starbucks cards. So all the gift cards I'm going to say, they're all $25. So the first Starbucks gift card goes to, hopefully, somebody who drinks coffee. Michelle Lynch, who's a special ed TOSA at the district office. Congratulations, Michelle. Yay. And then Starbucks number 2 goes to Judy Tamayo at MLK. Hopefully those Starbucks cards bring you a little bit of joy. So now we have more coffee, but these are for Viva Espresso, which is local coffee here in town, I believe. So again, hopefully these are coffee lovers and drinkers. Juliana Melgoza at Alisal Community. Juliana, congratulations. Juliana Melgoza. Okay, this is Viva Espresso number 2. Edith Diaz from Montebella. Miss Diaz from Montebella. Congratulations, you get coffee. Okay, so our next three are $25 gift cards to Target. Or I'm just going to say Target. It's the whole Chez Target. It's played. It's 90s mom joke. Okay, so Target card number 1 goes to Erica Malesio from Loya. Congratulations, Erica. Well done. Target, who's going to be your Target brother or sister? Is Rocio Gonzalez from Montebella again. Yay, Montebella. That's 2 in the gift cards. Okay, so last Target gift card goes to Cesar from Montebella. It's like Prince or who's the one from YouTube? Bono or Cher. Cesar from Montebella. I'm sure we can sort that out. Okay, first and last, people. Now there's some of you at home going, no, just remove them and give it to somebody else. No, we are kind-hearted here when we represent the PD committee. Okay, so the next 2 are from Panda Express. So some cream cheese rangoons. If it were me, just $25 in cream cheese rangoons. Ernesto Gama from Chavez. Well done, Ernesto. Bring me some pot stickers. Okay, moving on from Ernesto. This is Panda Express number 2. It looks like Casey Zavala from Sanchez. Congratulations, Casey. Enjoy your Chinese food. Okay, the last one. This is one of my favorite restaurants in town. I didn't pick this. Somebody from ATA picked the restaurants. So this is Avatar Indian Grill over on Constitution. So it's a $25 gift certificate for Avatar. If you haven't had any food before, it's amazing. Take me and I will tell you what to order. Rafael Castro Ortiz from Barden, my site Barden. Congratulations. Okay, we're down to our last 2 prizes. These are donated by the EdTech department. Although this was a PD committee event, this is not an EdTech event. It's just, we're EdTech, so we're kind of in everything. We're in everybody's business. Okay, so this, and I think you can still see because I think I still have my background on, is a Logitech H390 headset. It has like a mic that comes down like this. It plugs in USB, which I think is a little more stable than Bluetooth. Nothing wrong with Bluetooth, but you know, nothing ever goes wrong with a wire. In any case, there you go. Headset, speaker. Who's going to get it? that's going to be Julie Mejia from Alisal. Congratulations, Julie. Now you'll have great audio and a good microphone. Okay, so our last prize is a $125 gift certificate for Lakeshore. If you are this person, you should email me and Sarai Ramirez, my secretary, to learn how to get this accomplished. Okay, so this is Lakeshore, $125 shopping spree. Okay, who's going to get a grand prize? Oh my God. And Maria Griselda Martinez from Barden. Yay, Barden represent. And thank you, Maria, for putting your entire name. We so appreciate it. Okay, folks, I will stop being goofy here for a second. I probably won't, but that's okay. I'm going to put my background back on. And now we're going to actually go ahead and go back to our slides. So I'm going to switch back over there and come here so you can see this. So we are going to start. Dr. Hernandez will be joining us for Q&A. He has prepared 2 screencasts for us, which means that even if today you're not, you want to hear something over again, those will be webbed after the same place where we put this recording. His recordings will be webbed, as well as any other resources he's prepared. This is the assessment update for SBAC and ELPAC. We just thought it would be important to reiterate in case you came in a little bit late or you didn't have the link handy, is if you want to ask questions, it's bit.ly AUSD live PDQ. The PDQ are capitalized just like you see there. There are 2 separate screencasts. There will be a, we're not just going to go right into the other. We will reiterate the questions, but we are going to hold all the questions until the end to make sure that we get through all of the material. So please don't feel like we are ignoring your questions. We are just holding them until the end. Okay, so hopefully everybody's had a chance. bit.ly AUSD capital L live capital PDQ to ask your questions. So here we go.
Hello, teachers. This is Dr. Hernandez. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining our live stream this afternoon. Today, I'm here because I want to share with you some important updates that come straight from the State Board of Education that stems from their meeting just last week as it pertains to our state-required assessments. After I give you a quick update on what's happening at the state level with regards to decisions for assessments, I will go ahead and share with you a presentation that was provided to the site assistant principals. That is part of the training that's required for those of you administering the ELPAC and or the SBAC. So first, I'm going to, again, address State Board of Education updates. So we had some conversations that relate to decisions for compliance at both the federal and state levels. So we have assessments that we have to administer SBAC for compliance with the federal government, and that is required for students in 3rd through 8th grade and 11th, in ELA and in math, and then for 5th grade in science through the California Assessment of Science test. And we also have compliance requirements for the state. One of the state compliance requirements is administration of the ELPAC, or the English Learner Proficiency Assessments for California. And at this point, none of those assessments have been suspended for the current school year. Last year, when we first went into shelter in place, the state suspended these assessments because the federal government suspended also the compliance requirement. So we did not have to administer SBAC last year. We did administer ELPAC because we had started with ELPAC in February before the school closures. At this point, the state has not suspended these assessments, and neither have the federal government for SBAC and in ELA science and ELA math or CAST in science. So we are going to be getting some. I'm going to be providing you some information regarding the conversations at the State Board of Education level. So again, we do recognize that, and this is from the state and the United States Department of Education, that COVID has had an impact on learning, and that it would be, for some districts, unsafe to administer statewide assessments using their standard practices. However, they have stressed the following points of flexibility in administration of statewide assessments, and indicated that the state should emphasize this flexibility as follows. So administering a shortened version of its statewide assessments, which is what will be happening with ELA and math. Instead of the 48 to 50 items, students will be asked to complete 24 to 26 items in the computer adaptive portion of the test, which is the multiple subject, multiple choice type of questions. In addition, to offer an option for remote administration where feasible, and or extending the testing window. So those are the considerations recommended by the federal government, the United States Department of Education. We received a letter from the State Superintendent of Public Instruction Office, Mr. Thurmond, Tony Thurmond, and on this news release, he indicated that they were seeking relief from certain federal testing accountability and reporting requirements, and also waiving to opt out from one of the assessments. At this point, they're looking at completing a waiver to opt out from the California Science Test, the CAST, which is the one we administer for students in 5th grade. At this point, that's the only conversation with regards to a possible suspension, but at this point, it is still a required assessment for 5th grade. Until further notice, we have to plan accordingly. So we have to plan as if we were administering that one as well. So the state is looking at considering the flexibility suggested by the U.S. Department of Education and emphasizing the importance of decoupling the state assessments from federal accountability requirements as applicable. Instead, the data would be collected to inform local educators, parents, and the public, and align resources to students and student supports. So we do have to complete the LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan, and the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plans in order to get the funding for students in our district. So while the state may not use the results from the SBAC, the ELPAC, or the CAST for accountability to hold districts accountable for performance on the state dashboard, they still may require, we still are administering the assessments to be able to inform, as we are required to include these results as part of our local control accountability plan. As we write the updates to the plan for the next 3 years, we need to have some data that will inform the decisions we make related to the resources and the funding that will be used to support students. The other recommendation, there is a penalty if fewer or less than 95% of the students take the ELA and math. And while it is still a federal penalty if students do not complete it, the recommendation or the request is to make sure that even if we have, for some reason, less than 95% completed, that we are not held out of compliance. So the state is looking at waiving that participation rate penalty. The other suggestion was to extend the testing window so that schools would be able to complete administration through July 30th for both CASP and ELPAC as applicable. That is an internal decision we can make. But considering our school year closes June 2nd, at this point, we are not looking at extending the window we have. Instead, extending it earlier so that it's less, extending it, but by having it start earlier so that there's more flexibility and not as much a rush to complete these assessments just in May, but starting after spring break. So we have a little bit more of a wiggle room or extra time to, but not beyond the end of the school year. That decision of extending beyond the school year, beyond June 2nd, has not been made. Then the other one, as I mentioned earlier, was the possibility of waiving administration of the state's science test, the CAST, altogether for 21, but we have not received guidance yet. I believe the state is going to agendize that request the week of March 17th. And as soon as there's a response from the federal government related that waiver, we will get that information, and then I will inform the sites if we indeed get to waive administration of the CAST. And again, that only impacts 5th grade. So there's also information related to developing a proposal for providing data to the public. And the board noted at the state level that the federal guidance from the U.S. Department of Education offered to work with states to address their individual needs and conditions. Considering the large number of LEAs that have yet to return to in-person instruction, it was suggested the state might work with the U.S. Department of Education to allow for the use of local assessments when it is not safe to administer CASP assessments safely in person. That discussion resulted in the board's decision to direct the Department of Education to come back with a proposal for the U.S. Department of Education that could allow LEAs an alternative to the CASP assessments by providing local data instead of administering statewide assessment. So they would have to, the state would have to develop a waiver proposal to bring back to the board that focuses on a plan for assessments that provide data to parents, educators, and the public, which monitors the progress of students in ELA math, and that will propose a means for uniform reporting of their data in both aggregated and disaggregated forms. So at this point, we have not received guidance from the state related to the development of this proposal that would be using or considering alternative measures or alternative assessments other than the CASP assessments. At the point when I received that information, I will pass it over or pass it on to the sites as I meet with the assistant principals every other week, and I will keep them informed and include it on our weekly bulletin to site admin and coaches. As soon as I have that information, I will pass it on. So, so again, the next steps on the timeline, the state is working on drafting a waiver proposal, and hopefully they'll review and act on March 17th. And then they'll submit that waiver to the Federal Education Department. We'll have to wait on response from them. And then we'll have to then receive legislation through an executive order from the governor to then execute any changes to our required assessments. So this part of my presentation on the state requirements is complete. I'm going to stop now and have you reflect on what I've shared and jot down some questions that you can bring back to me as part of the.
Sorry, folks, that's my bad. So as Dr. Hernandez was saying before my mouse went rogue on us, is if you have any questions, we'll take a second for you guys to reflect and to think about that and formulate any questions you want. Again, we're providing the link here of the question form. I know there's over 100 folks watching, and just want to make sure everybody has time to think of their questions. I know there's some folks who joined us in the last few minutes. We want to make sure that those folks do have the link to the question form and don't have to go digging through your email. So we'll give that just a minute, maybe a few seconds, and then we'll head to the second video. Okay. This one is on remote administration of the ELPAC and SBAC. I'm going to speed it just a little bit.
Teachers,
Sure,
this is Dr. Hernandez again. And
never mind.
Hi, teachers. This is Dr. Hernandez again. And this time I am here to share with you a few slides that are part of a more comprehensive slide deck that I will share with all. That includes additional resources that are needed for you to review prior to starting your ELPAC and or SBAC testing this spring. I am going to highlight only a few of the most critical points that address your work in facilitating sessions for students. These are remote sessions for ELPAC in the listening, reading, and writing, and or for SBAC in ELA or math, or for the CAST assessment or science test for 5th grade. So ELPAC assessments include the following domains that will be administered by you teachers: listening, reading, and writing. The ELPAC testers are going to be administering the speaking assessment domain for all students, and as that is administered one-on-one. These are estimated times that are provided by the state for the total administration of the test, between almost 2 to 3 hours in its entirety, which includes all 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Again, the parts that will be required of teachers are listening, reading, and writing, which will be administered remotely in grades 3rd through 6th. Testers will be administering the speaking domain to all students from TK through 6th grade one-on-one, as well as the entire test for students in K1 and 2. So here are some points about SSIDs. This is something that is critical as we administer the test. Students will be using the secure browser, and the secure browser is already on their Chromebook devices. And the students will need to have their SSID number in order to log into their test session, which you will provide. The summative ELPAC, which is the one that we will begin with, or we have begun with this spring or this semester, is one that will require video monitoring. The secure browser is one that now includes this feature of video monitoring that allows you to see students as they are taking the assessment with their cameras on as part of their devices. That will be for ELPAC, for the summative ELPAC, and it'll also be a feature of the Smarter Balanced Assessments at ELA or math, as well as the CAST for science in 5th grade. It is very important that as you review these materials, that you take a moment to take a look at the pause rules that are embedded within each administration that will be important to review to know exactly when you can actually stop a session or pause a session as you're taking or administering the test. There are different rules. There are pause rules for the listening and reading domains on the ELPAC, and the writing and speaking domain do not have any pause rules. The pause rules are listed here on slide number 23. So please make sure to familiarize yourself with slide number 23. It allows you to log back in. If it's more than 20 minutes, students can log back on and start where the students left off. But that they do not allow the student to go back to previous pages. So they cannot check questions that they worked on if they are paused for more than 20 minutes. If it's 20 minutes or less, then they can log back on and they can start where they left off, and it allows the students to go back to other items within the segment. The pause rules, again, do not apply to speaking or the writing assessment that you will be administering yourselves. There are some new features that you'll see as part of the secure browser. There's a video feature that allows you to video with students, a messaging feature that allows the student to message with you, a raise the hand feature, a video call, actually a conference call that allows you to call the student via their device if you need to speak with them, and a broadcast, a feature that allows you to send a message to all students. There's a schedule a session feature that is a new feature as well that allows you to plan more effectively your sessions even ahead of time if that's something that you wish to do. The test administrator or test examiner, in this case you are the test examiner, will need to agree to allow your system to access the video cam, the webcam, and microphone, and the students as well. You will be able to video monitor and see your students through the test administrator interface as they are logged on to the test. And the students will have the communication widget that will allow them to, during the delivery system, they'll be able to, through the delivery system, they'll be able to communicate with you through this widget. Again, they'll be able to raise their hand. They have a video feed. They can send messages. And it is very important for you to practice these features before the official day of testing. You may use the practice and training tests that are available through elpac.org as well as through casp.org. You have the practice and training test with the test administrator and test examiner practice and training site, as well as the student interface for practice and training tests. And this is for CASP, and this is the way it looks like for ELPAC. So today you have an opportunity to engage with several videos, and as part of this presentation, I'm going to play the one that's most encompassing, which is how to give a remote group test. But the following videos will also be available to you through the slide deck. Monitoring a remote test session, scheduling, starting and stopping a remote test session, and a video where students for themselves are able to understand how to take a test remotely. So that one I would like you to please share with your students. You have this mode with the slide deck and also the link for students to watch as you assign it to them. We will have an opportunity for questions after we watch the first video that I indicated, which is the how to give a remote group test, which I will play now.
Welcome to this How to Give a Remote Group Test video, sponsored by the California Department of Education. This demonstration video will provide suggestions for and examples of how test administrators and examiners can deliver sign-in instructions for students prior to beginning a remote administration of the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, or CASP, and the English Language Proficiency Assessments for California, or ELPAC. It will include a demonstration of a pre-test video conference meeting of an educator supporting students as they sign in using the secure browser, and of the educator communicating with students during testing. For this demonstration, we're administering the summative ELPAC. However, the process demonstrated applies to all CASP tests. For more details on scheduling, starting, monitoring, and stopping a test session, please view the following tutorials: scheduling, starting, and stopping a remote test session, and monitoring a remote test session. For information concerning steps students take to start a test session, refer to the demonstration video created for students, How to Take a Remote Test. All tutorials can be found on the CASP and ELPAC websites. It is recommended that test administrators and examiners conduct a virtual pre-test meeting with their students prior to the students signing in to the secure browser. During this pre-test meeting, test administrators and examiners should review expectations concerning remote testing, ensure that students have the appropriate technology resources, give instructions for testing, and answer any questions students may have.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to this ELPAC test. That's what we're going to do today. We're not going to take the test in Zoom, though. We have to go to a different place. So in a minute, I'm gonna talk you through how to get there and what you need to do once you're there. Okay. If you don't have your headphones on yet, I want you to.
A pre-test meeting is also an excellent opportunity to share session IDs with students, as well as provide students with their Student Statewide Identifier, or SSID, numbers. It is recommended that test administrators and examiners share the How to Take a Remote Test demonstration video with students during this pre-test meeting.
Today, you'll take the ELPAC listening, reading, and writing tests. In a moment, we're going to leave this Zoom meeting, and you're going to open up the secure browser and sign in. First, let's watch a video that will show you how to sign in.
Today, you are going to take a test remotely. This video is going to show you how to sign into the secure browser and start your test.
This video illustrates the process of signing into a secure browser, demonstrates the communication features available during testing, and reviews how to end and submit a test. It is available on the CASP and ELPAC websites and the Moodle ELPAC training site.
So that video showed that after you sign in, I will approve you, and then you will need to check your camera, your microphone, sound, and text-to-speech. After all that, you are going to start the test by selecting the green Begin Test Now button.
You may use one or two devices for this administration. If you are using two devices, a video conferencing platform can be opened on one and the test administrator interface open on the other. This video will be demonstrating a remote group test administration with one device. The test examiner in this demonstration is using Zoom for video conferencing, but test administrators and examiners may use whatever video conferencing platform students are using most frequently for daily instruction. Prior to entering the secure browser, it is important for students to know how to communicate with you if there is a problem during the test.
Okay, so right now, you're going to leave Zoom. You're going to close your browser, your web browser. You're going to go open up your secure browser, and if there's a problem, you're going to come back to the Zoom. Okay, I'll see you all in a few minutes.
Problems may include connectivity issues, difficulty signing in, or an inability to hear computer audio. Be sure to clearly communicate prior to testing what students should do if something unexpected happens while testing. You need to make sure that all students in the test session have access to the test session ID and their SSID. Provide students the session ID, including all the letters, numbers, and dashes exactly as shown. The session ID could be shared with students in an email or during a video meeting prior to testing. SSIDs can be provided through various secure methods, such as mailing home testing cards or using school pickups. Teachers can meet with students in a video meeting to share or private chat the SSID to each student. If you have a parent portal vendor, SSIDs may be available to students that way too.
When you open up the secure browser, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to sign in. Now, there's a couple things you're going to need to sign in. You are going to need your SSID number. I'm going to start putting them right now to each one of you privately in the chat. The next thing it's going to ask you is to enter your test session ID. Okay, so we all have the same test session ID. After you've put in your first name and your SSID, the next thing you're going to do is your test session ID. Thumbs up if you see your SSID and the test session ID in the chat.
Students should never leave the test unattended. If they need to pause the test and use the restroom, instruct them to communicate with you prior to pausing the test.
If you have to pause for a moment and just collect yourself and breathe for a moment, you can do that. If you need to use the restroom, send me a message and tell me that. Okay, so we can stop and you can go do that and come back. If you need anything during the test, you're going to just ask me. Okay, you're going to send me a message in the test. All right.
Ensure that students know what to do at the end of the test. Test examiners may choose for students to check in with them prior to ending and submitting their test.
When you're done with the test, hit End Test, and then you'll go back and start the reading test. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so right now, you're going to leave Zoom. You're going to close your browser, your web browser. You're going to go open up your secure browser, and if there's a problem, you're going to come back to the Zoom. Okay, I'll see you all in a few minutes.
If the test administrator or examiner is using one device, they will need to adjust the applications on the screen to view the test administrator interface and monitor the video meeting at the same time. When using one device, your camera can only be used in one application at a time. It is recommended that the camera in the video conferencing platform be turned off so the camera can be used in the test administrator interface. As students complete the sign-in process and request approval for selected tests, you will need to approve their tests. Select the Approvals button in the top right corner when it indicates that there are students awaiting approval. Students may have issues when signing into the secure browser.
Okay, Megan, tell me what happened.
It said there was no match.
There was no match. Maybe you mean like when you tried to put in your SSID number?
The test administrator may need to support students as they troubleshoot.
Megan, I'm going to give you your SSID number again.
During the test, you will be able to monitor the student's progress and communicate with students. For a complete demonstration of new enhancements to the test administrator interface and how to monitor students during a remote administration, please view the Monitoring a Remote Test Session video. This tutorial is available on the CASP and ELPAC websites. Thank you for watching this How to Give a Remote Group Test video.
Okay, Dr. Hernandez, does that mean we are done with your videos?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to stop presenting here for a second so we're both on camera. Celia and I will be reading questions for you. The first question is from Jazeel Chilson, and it actually at Sanchez, and it's actually for me. Her question is, will there be updates needed to student computers to access testing like in prior years? And then she talks about an experience she's had with IAB and how will we schedule these updates. You don't have to schedule the updates. They're automatic. The problem that usually happens is kids just close the clamshell on their Chromebook. And what they actually need to do is restart it or turn it off and turn it back on again. And actually, for the 130 teachers watching, it's a pretty good practice to remind your kids once a week to, like, maybe at the end of your synchronous teaching, to just tell them, hey, let's turn our Chromebooks all the way off and then back on again. And that's what keeps Chromebooks up to date. It's one of the reasons we prefer Chromebook as a device. It is the easiest remote update, automatic updating thing there is in student computers. So it's a really good question, Ms. Chilson. And yeah, just got to restart them and then they'll be up to date. Okay, I'll read this question to you, and then I think Celia is going to take the next one. Tara Favre at Chavez, who's an SDC teacher, asks, many or all of the SDC teachers, or states rather, many or all of the SDC teachers are not receiving your emails regarding ELPAC or SBAC. Can you please add the SDC teachers to your distribution? I know sometimes, Dr. Hernandez, that like we as district administrators assume certain groups are included when we use the email alias groups, and I think sometimes people get left off. So
I will be very conscientious and cautious with that. Thank you, Tara, for reminding me.
okay, Celia, the next one's for you.
Yes. Let's see. So this is from Miss Cameron at BRB. So since both 3rd and 4th grade students are new to taking the SBAC or the ELPAC potentially, how can we support students and parents to learn how to navigate the secure browser?
Okay, so it's critical to use the practice opportunities. I know many teachers have already used the practice tests. The practice test is not a compliance or a required assessment, so you can use it as a learning experience. And then you can actually even include that in communications with parents and send them the link to the practice site so that they can practice with their children if they so wish to do it. It is important, especially, yes, Ms. Cameron, for those that are currently in 4th and in 3rd grade who didn't have the experience last year with SBAC, the 4th graders, and obviously the 3rd graders doing it for the first time, that you expose them and you have time from now until we start testing to practice and train your students using the secure browser. The secure browser you can use even for a practice session. and then they get to actually practice the new features of the secure browser. But you can also have them practice with their SSID, their name SSID, and a training session ID by going into the practice test website, and not necessarily through the secure browser. I will send an additional screencast explaining and showing how that's done, and I'll attach the materials from today as well. And I will provide that screencast to Celia, so it's on the remote test, remote instruction website in our district. So yes, practice is what's going to help all our students that are all new to this. Address all those glitches while you can prior to the official day of testing as a learning experience, and then document those glitches so that we can address them together and limit the frustration on the day you're actually required to administer it.
Okay, we've gotten a couple of questions that I'm kind of going to combine. Nancy Rodriguez at MLK, Jen Griffith, who's a kindergarten teacher at Steinbeck, asking, and I think this is maybe a joint answer between you and I, Dr. Hernandez. What is this? What is a secure browser? Is Chrome a secure browser? What does the secure browser CASP logo look like? So Chrome is a secure browser, but the state also has a very specific browser that when IT pushes it out and makes it ready, it will just appear on the bottom of your students' Chromebooks, and it will have an icon. And Dr. Hernandez, I think you can see me presenting. I don't know if the logo still looks like this, where it says Air Secure Test and it has the chain, or
No,
does it look like this?
it looks that one. That's the one.
It's this one. This is the old icon, which tells you how long ago I last saw it. And then this is the new one. So the icon looks like this. It's like a circle with the blue California outlined in green and says CA. So what'll happen is they'll just click the red button or the red X and X out of their Chromebook, or out of their browser, not out of their Chromebook all the way, just out of Chrome. And then at the bottom, they'll see this icon and they'll click that, and that will open up the secure browser. Is that about right, Dr. Hernandez?
That is correct. And the reason why it's secure is because being that it is a state protected assessment, that's why you all have to sign in that affidavit that you're not going to share any information about this experience at all with anyone. It is a legal issue to violate that. That's why you sign that affidavit. The secure browser limits students from seeing anything else on their screen while taking a test. That's the only window they can have open. If they have anything else, when they click on it, the browser will not open and they will not be able to log in. It will prompt them to close all the windows or any programs they have open on their device before they can start testing. I recommend that you download the secure browser if you want to practice playing as if you were the student taking a test, so you can see how you would get stuck if trying to get into a session and you have other programs open.
So just a
download for that is on the state website on the main landing page of elpac.org and CASP.org. You can look for technology resources, and you'll see the first one is secure browser, and you'll download it for your device.
Just a couple of clarifications for folks is that's for teachers to download. Students won't need to download it. That will be pushed automatically out to their Chromebooks.
That's only if they want to practice as if they were a student. That's correct.
Right. So then you said to close all your other browser windows, but the video made it seem like they could maybe keep a Google Meet open. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
That is inaccurate. They have to be in the Meet prior. Then they have to close out of the Meet. And then if they're not able to log in, then they have to get back into the link, into the Meet with the teacher. The teacher monitors the Meet, and the kids can come back in if they're stuck logging in. Like the example of Megan, the student that was not able to log in. The teacher was still on in the Meet. She had her window open or her class open. And if kids were not able to log into the test, then the teacher was able to, through the other device, get in, or through the other window get into and get the helper as needed, because the kids are not able to have a secondary window open.
So yeah, do you have another question ready for us?
Yes. This is from Ms. Gava at Fremont. She's wondering if teachers can get a copy of both like students that are going to be tested and their scheduled like days and time for testing.
So all the students in 3rd through 6th will be taking SBAC in ELA and in math and in 5th grade for science. Students with special education IEPs that say they can take alternate assessments can take the alternate assessment for those 3. That's required for all students in 3rd through 6th. For ELPAC, then you're not having all the students get tested. So the site system principals have the list, and they are finalizing schedules so that you understand when you are administering the students the listening, reading, and writing domain parts of the ELPAC. And that varies from school to school because we have different numbers of English learners that must take the test by site and by grade. So your assistant principal, Ms. Cava, Ms. Bustamante, can provide you more information. Please check back with her.
Yeah, that's a good point to clarify. That was, I left that out. She did mention ELPAC has started for her class in 6th grade, and so she's having some students in and out of her meet.
Oh, that's for speaking, and the speaking is being administered by the testers. We have a team of testers that were hired to administer the speaking domain, which is administered one-on-one to all students. So yes, letting them know I have to take this test if they're an English learner is something that I will emphasize with the assistant principals to inform teachers of who is testing. They may not have an exact schedule because the testers need to get a hold of parents, and that is not always easy to have them come in. And what exact time they're coming in may not be as readily available as it may happen the night before as they get through to parents to come in. So we'll ask the APs to devise a way to communicate when students are scheduled for the speaking domain that's happening right now. I'll bring that up to the APs.
Louis Mejia has a follow-up to my question with you about CASP and Google Meet, and what she says is, just to clarify, have a Google Meet and CASP running simultaneously when administering the CASP, and that's a yes, right? The teacher should have a Meet open that kids can come back to if they have troubles.
As a teacher, yes.
Yeah, but the kids can't have Meet and the secure browser open at the same time.
No, that's why the example was she had the Zoom before, and then she sent them off and told them log off the Zoom and go in and log in through the secure browser. And if you're stuck, come back and I'll be here. But they could only be on one, which was the secure browser. Yes.
So there's
one before and one after the session.
There's a quick question, I think it's going to be a quick question from Miss King, the coach at Chavez. She's asking, is there any information on the PE test for 5th grade? Has it been waived? What's the
PE test has not been waived, but I honestly don't know how we would be able to administer it unless we have students come back in person. But at this point, it is still on the schedule for the weeks, for the last month of the school, basically for May 3rd through May 28th. We don't know yet if we will be able to administer it, as it has to be monitored in person, because you can't be remotely checking the appropriateness of the motions that are recorded for the 5th grade physical fitness test. So more on that. As soon as I know for sure, I will let you know. It'll be contingent on whether kids are here.
And then Mr. Rains is asking, are there any proposed changes to the performance task? Any changes in breadth and depth, or how they're going to be administered?
So right now, the only change that I know for sure will be happening with ELA and math is the number of items that will be part of the computer adaptive test, or the CAT part of the test, which is the multiple choice type questions. That basically was cut in half for ELA and math. But there are no changes to the performance tasks. The performance tasks for ELA, math, and the entire science test remains the same. There were no reductions in questions for the science test in 5th grade.
Okay, we have sort of a couple of questions, again, from Miss Griffith, who teaches kindergarten at Steinbeck. They're sort of around Lightspeed Classroom. She has a couple of questions. So do you think we could send the login page for the test to them using Lightspeed, where you can push out a link to a page? And then she's also asking, so once they're inside the secure browser, is there any way to monitor the kids once you're in there? And I don't know, you can answer the question about pushing the login through Lightspeed. But I think there's SSID and something else involved there. But yeah, in terms of monitoring, they could monitor the screen through Lightspeed Classroom, right? But is there anything else, any other way to monitor once they're there?
Well, I'm assuming that Jennifer is asking for everyone here, because this is not administered at all in kinder. And the assessment for
I was
ELPAC,
wondering that myself.
For the kinder assessment for ELPAC is administered completely one-on-one by the testers we hired. The teachers are not involved in that at all. For kinder, first and second grade. And then SBAC is only administered with that secure browser in 3rd through 6th. We don't send, the kids already have their secure browser on their device for SBAC. And all that needs to happen in order to be able to log in is clicking on the secure browser and getting the information to log in, that SSID number provided by the teacher, as well as the session ID. The session ID cannot be sent out ahead of time, because that session ID is provided by the teacher before the test administration begins. So it's 1 o'clock, and the session will start at 1:15. At 1 o'clock, the teacher opens and gets the session ID number and provides it to kids before they get into the session. That cannot be done beforehand, because that session ID would be open for hours, and we can't have that be the case. It has to be right before the session is scheduled to open.
So we're at 2 o'clock, and so we're actually at 2:01, so we're out of time. Miss Lomax at MLK said, but if they can only be in one at a time, they need to close their test before they close the meet. That's accurate. They can't even get to the meet until they close that. Miss Cameron, your follow-up comment / question, and Mr. Aragon, your follow-up comment. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to get to them. It's already 2:02. Please email Dr. Hernandez. Also, he will be emailing teachers directly and broadly with the information, and it will be put up on the on our ALISL remote instruction resource website, along with the video that we did today. So we're gonna, unfortunately, we're out of time. We're gonna have to close it out. So I wish you all happy Friday and a happy weekend. And as we say at the end of every one of the live stream PDs, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and be good to our kids. Have a great weekend. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And remember,